All right. Hello, everybody. I'm trying to come up with something new to say, but I always say hello, everybody. Hello, my friends. It's always the case. Last minute, I put all my notes together. And on the walk this morning, actually, I recorded all my notes, what I want to say, and here I am. So, let me just put the comments up. Sonke. Hello, friends and Shlomo. Yeah, I want to see if I can actually, before we start this, okay, that can be seen. It's good. I like that. Okay. I fixed that so you can see the comments here on the screen. I hope it's visible. It's kind of small text, but let's see if I can enlarge that text. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Okay. Default abundance. What is default abundance? Abundance. Like default, who sets that default? Hey, Ocean Mist, Linda, Cam, Zephyr. Good morning, everybody. Well, I guess it's not morning by you, but it's a beautiful day. It's actually the second day of beautiful weather in Vancouver. It's been raining and cold up until a couple days ago, and it's going to be the same starting tomorrow. So here we are. Good morning, Radrad. Jennifer, I hope that you had some thoughts about our conversation yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, sorry, on Friday. Maybe you can write some comments here. Hi, David. Hello, Jude. So, like I said in the description here, I am actually attempting to do this video, how can I say, a life reality, whatever the big thing is going to shift today for you. At least I hope so. Because, okay, let me see how I want to phrase it. The only way to get out of the box, and I will just remind you what that box is here. I'll switch to a slide from my video called The 4 Boundaries. So there it is. And as you remember, it's a box, right? You have the left line here. Let's see if I can actually show it to you with my cursor. No, it doesn't show the cursor. Oh, anyway, the left line is the birth. And then you have on the other side, or maybe it does show. There you go. So this is the birth, right here. Then you have your, well, not your, but there is death here. There is the top ceiling of that box is the infinity of the universe, and the bottom floor of that box is the infinity of the small, right? And we are right here, the avatar in this reality. And our consciousness, as I said in that video, is actually not residing, and all this residing and all these locations, and this is all metaphorical, okay? Because everything is in one place, and I'll show you later where it is, or what everything is. But the top consciousness here, this is really God. And today, again, I'll be talking about two gods, and I'll go into much more details what each God represents. And at the end of the day, for this reality to change, and that's what I wanted to say at the very beginning, is for you to understand what I'm saying today. If you understand what I'm saying today and you actually get to a point where you know this is true, that you believe it, reality will change for you instantly, because the only way to get out of this box is through your mind. You cannot get out of it because it's not physical. So there's no way for you to get out of this box. You can only get out of it through your mind. Okay? All right, let's go back here to the main screen. All right. There we go. Okay. So, like I said in the previous video, we all have okay, let me close this. Okay. We all have a splinter in our mind, just like in the Matrix. And today you will also understand why you have that splinter and where does it come from. And by the way, in the Matrix, many of the concepts, the metaphors, are actually identical to what I'm saying here. And there is a reason why the two brothers who actually made that movie, and they got that information from the cloud, from the main consciousness. And today how we'll separate the two gods is the God that everything consists of, and we are inside it, I will call the consciousness. And the biblical God, the God that is referred to in any other way, I will call the God or the biblical God. Okay, so remember, when I say God, I don't mean the consciousness. The God, the biblical God, is just part of that, and I'll show you in a minute in the diagram how that works. Okay. Okay, so let me jump quickly to. Just see here. Greetings from Croatia. Shlomo, Navid. All right. Jennifer, what Jennifer saying? I had a lot of contemplation about the dream concept, and I think we are possibly a dream within a dream, within a dream, within a dream, etc. Oh, you like this kind of Russian dolls, eh? That everything goes into everything. That way, you never have to come up to a conclusion. It goes forever. Okay. So let me switch to the iPad. Today it's gonna work. And the reason, by the way, it didn't work last time is because the pencil that I draw with was not synchronized with the iPad. So that's why it didn't work. Or at least so I think. Okay. So let's start this. Okay. So what we have, look at it this way. Let's say that this, and again, keep in mind that this is all metaphorical. There is nothing physical whatsoever here or ever was. Everything is metaphorical. Everything is virtual. There is absolute nothingness. This is the real thing. Everything else is just inside this circle, which is the consciousness. I didn't draw it very nice, but I guess it's not really round. And everything that exists, okay, is inside this metaphorically. It's not inside physically, because this is not physical entity, okay? Now let's put this box down here that I showed you in the previous slide, okay? And this is our reality, okay? So we have birth, we have death, we have the infinity of the universe, and we have the infinity of the micro, the small, the quantum, right? And we are inside this box. Now, how does that work? You see, this consciousness here, and for the ones of you that watched my balloon video, this is, there are many similar, I mean, I never changed my concept, but this is a different way to represent it, and I think it's explains more than the balloons. The balloons was mostly to explain what the life and death is. Okay, so imagine that this consciousness has a pipeline that goes into this box. Okay, has this, and this thing here is any consciousness that exists in this box, which I actually call the avatars. Okay, so everything in here are avatars. Now, for example, why is it that you here, the avatar, can never realize or feel or tell or point to who you are? Not possible, right? We can look at another human being and see who they are, like I can read their faces and so on and so on. But when it comes to myself, I have absolutely no clue where I am. Like, you know, there's no way I can pinpoint where I am. And the reason for it is because in practice, I am here. Okay? And everything that happens to me here is actually, call it a program running here. And this is why we are actually a totally sealed system. If you look at ourselves, there is absolutely nothing that we get from outside. We think that we get it from outside, right? We see something and this is outside. But it's not really outside because it's inside your mind, which is part of this program here. Your mind is there. It's not here. So everything, the whole reality here, this reality at the bottom, is generated in this consciousness. Okay? So again, this extension is really metaphorical. This is what you feel. You feel that you are in this reality and you interact with all these other consciousnesses and so on and so on. But everything is generated only here. Okay? You don't exist anywhere else except here. And why I said matrix, because in the matrix, they some of those humans there, they compare them metaphorically to a program. And they say, and the programmer decides he can terminate the program, like this guy that was on the train with his little daughter, right? They said that there were programs and he's going to be deleted at some point. Well, it's exactly the same thing here. Every conscious thing here, and not conscious as well, in this reality here, is a program running here, okay? Again, I don't mean to say that this is a program in the sense of a computer. I just use it metaphorically so you can understand what we are talking about. I'll get a new page here, just because it became too messy, okay? So, again, this is the consciousness, and this is the box, which is our reality, right? And this is, say, a human. I'm not very good at drawing, but okay. So let's call this consciousness. Now, the thing which is extremely interesting, and it will probably set some of you on a very interesting path in the way you think, is that, just one second here, I wanted to see, yeah, okay, is that God, now when I say God, I mean the God, the biblical God, okay, is also a thing like that, except it's a much wider, okay, has a much wider, call it pipe. But the God that everybody on this earth knows is just an extension of that consciousness, okay? And when that consciousness here started this dream, created this reality, it also created that God here, okay? And I drew it quite big. And also what you have to realize that this God here, for the ones of you that are familiar with the Old Testament, with the Bible, even though the translation is not that great, but this God is very much like a human. He's revengeful. He says, I'll take revenge of this and all my haters and all this, right? He talks like a human. And then he says, love, you love me. And then he says, I never die. I am a hero. I can destroy everything. Like he talks just like I would say like a king that controls, half the world. And I always wondered, why does he talk like that? Like this is not something that God, the way I see God, would talk, right? And the reason for it is because it is actually a superhuman. It's just another projection that runs into this consciousness, right? And the thing is, I mean, everybody took this as God. And for example, if you take other people like Moses or Jesus, it's the same thing. It's just that they have more of a connection to the consciousness. And same goes for humans. The more they can connect backwards into this consciousness, the more they become psychic and the more they can manifesting because they have much more influence over the real engine that creates everything, right? But keep in mind that in this reality here, everything is physical, right? So for you to create any manifestation or any change or any action, you have to start with the physical act because this is a physical reality. And then when you start it, the wider your connection to this consciousness, the more you will be able to achieve in a way that we call like outer intention or you know, manifesting and so on and so on and so on. But you have to always start with the physical act here. That's the only way you will be able to influence this thing here. Okay? Even if you look at, like I said before, even that God here, right, always was talking about some kind of a physical action. You know, like I forgot the word last time. Now I remember he told Moses, use your staff, right? Hit the water, hit the river, it will become blood. It was always a physical act that things started from. And this is because we are in this physical reality, okay? So a human can actually potentially become that God, okay? A human can potentially become the biblical God if it opens up enough that channel here to be as wide as that. Okay, I'll erase it again and I'll come back on the screen here. Just give me a second. All right. All right, so here we are. Why couldn't I come on my regular screen? I don't know. That's really strange. Ah, I see. Okay. Now, this is really heavy-duty stuff, you know. Even for me, it's, well, I kind of envision the whole thing all the time. But it's very hard for people to comprehend this. It goes against any common sense or any understanding. You know, it's very kind of weird and strange. But again, I obviously what I'm saying is subjective, but to me, this is the absolute truth. This is how it works. I have lots of proof for it. Again, it's not, I don't have time and room here for this video. I didn't prepare enough, but maybe I actually want to create something much more extensive, and this will probably be the second part of the book where I will come with all the material that exists on it. Here I'm just giving you the tip of the iceberg because, you know, like in 1 hour or whatever we're doing here, it's very hard to touch in all these things and go in depth into them. May it makes sense. Well, it's your sense, you see. What I'm trying to do is get more people to have your sense. Yeah. So, you see, when I talk about the coming change, and I want to touch on that, this is another one which is very, very deep and complicated, but I'll you know, my specialty is to actually simplify things. And that's what I'm doing here. So, the God that's in this, that was in this reality, maybe still is, I don't know. He created certain dynamics here, right? He brought the Bible and he brought rules and he brought the Ten Commandments and he basically kind of shaped our reality for a few thousand years. And that was why it was put in here. It was put in here to shape our reality in such a way that we are able to produce what the consciousness wanted to produce, because the consciousness in a way kind of went to sleep and took a ride on this reality, became part of it. Okay? The consciousness was not in control. It just set all the rules. Okay, the world cannot destroy itself, you cannot have a world war, and you cannot have anything that looks not real, like you cannot fly, and so on and so on. All those rules were pre-installed, and then that other God was inserted here to set the infrastructure and the mental, say, framework for humans to be able to arrive to the iPhone and to the space shuttle, right? Because otherwise we wouldn't arrive here. We would kill ourselves a long time ago, or we just go and have drugs and have sex and do nothing. So the Bible, that this God that was inserted in here brought, and that was for that reason. Okay? Now keep in mind though, that because that God shaped our reality for thousands of years to come, it also has to balance out, just like it says in reality transurfing, like the balancing forces. It has to balance out. And it has nothing to do with the how we perceive balance, that God needs to take revenge of this one or that one, you know, a payday for... It is part of rebalancing. It has to happen because that God created certain imbalances here. He predicted certain things. He said certain things. They have to happen. Before we can move to the next reality, and I'll explain in a minute what next reality means, these things have to balance out. And they will be very painful for some groups, and they will be very pleasant and happy for other groups. And it's not because, again, that God is likes this group or doesn't like that. It's just a balancing out of what was the forces, the energies, the dynamics that were put into this reality have to balance out completely before we can switch to the next reality. And no, Alan, there is no devil, no Satan, and no Lucifer, okay? This is all in your mind. You can make the list longer if you wish to. So, now what does it mean changing reality? That cannot be done by the God that I talked about just now. It can only be done in the main consciousness. And you have to keep in mind, I'll go for a minute back to the drawing here because I want to show you something. Where did it go? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. So, Touch ID. So much for the Touch ID. It doesn't recognize my finger. Okay. Let's go back to the consciousness and to the box. You probably dream about that tonight. And then we go back into the inserted consciousness. Keep in mind that there is billions of those, right? But I draw only one. I cannot put billions on this screen. This is the consciousness, and this is our reality, okay? Call it R. So what it is that anything that happens in this reality is determined by these creatures, okay? Everything, absolutely everything, as long as it abides by the rules that were set at the very beginning, everything is done from this reality. It's not done from here, okay? So, Alan, you know, when you have devil or Satan or Lucifer, you created right here. It doesn't come from the top. At the top, there is no such thing. Okay, I'll come back here. So what does it mean, next reality? Only we can bring the next reality, unless the next reality is such that we are not in it, which is not the case, again, in my opinion. Okay? So as long as the next reality is using the same stage, the same infrastructure, the same consciousnesses that are here, the same avatars, okay, it may rearrange them. Hi, Sabrina. It may rearrange them in many ways, but it's going to be the same thing. So it's up to us to bring the next reality. And this is how it was decided from the very beginning. That's why, again, you got all these rules and all the Bible and all this ethics and everything so that you can actually come to a point where you can change the reality. And we are at that point. You know, even in the Kabbalah, in all those Jewish mystic writings, and it always says that it will be in the 6,000, which is now, by the Jewish calendar, we're 5,007 something, okay? And, or 8 actually. And it says in all those mystic writings, including the Kabbalah, that at that time, there will be unbelievable intelligence in the world. Like humans will become extremely intelligent. And, you know, in reality, this is where we are. Now, how do we create that change? How do we shift to the next reality? And, you know, I said that by pulling the trigger, and you will hopefully see the connection here. Because remember, God at this stage is basically 7.8 whatever billion consciousnesses combined. That's God. So if you change those consciousnesses, right, this is how you pull the trigger. Because you're going to change God. I shouldn't say God, that's the consciousness, because I'm mixing here. Right now I'm talking about the consciousness, not the biblical God, okay? And as I said before, the only way you, or I, or anybody for that matter, can reach out of that box, I'll just bring that box for a minute here. I'm practicing my computer skills at the same time. So you see, for us to get out of this box, there is no physical way to do it. You cannot break any of these walls. The only way you can get out of this box is through here, through your head. And how can you get out through your head? You have to change how you perceive things. Because the same way you create this reality and all those boundaries and everything, right? The same way you can make them disappear. There's no difference between creating them and making them disappear, or creating this reality or creating a different reality. I just showed you earlier that you created this reality. There's absolutely nothing in this reality, in this world, that you did not create, except natural phenomenon, which is part of the original rules, right? So I'm not talking about that. But everything else you created. Show me one thing on the street or in the city or out of town or in the jungles, whatever, that you didn't create, right? The destruction of the wildlife. Again, this is part of the dynamics. It's not good or bad, okay? It's nothing to do with it. Like when the dinosaurs died, 60 million years ago, it wasn't something bad. It was just a shift into a different, more miniature, compact world. That's all it was. And, so because you created this reality as it is today, you can create a different reality. But how to cause you to create the different reality? And this is what I am here for. That's what I'm trying to do with you. Okay? Let me bring my beautiful face here back. There we go. You will change that by understanding what it is. The minute you understand what it is, you will change it, because you will not act the same way anymore, right? You realize that. So in order to go to the next reality, and that's why I said in my previous video that my job is really to convince you that there is such a thing as God or the consciousness. And also what I need to do is also show you and convince you what it is for. It's not enough for you to believe that there is such a consciousness. You also have to understand what is its purpose, what is it trying to achieve, what is it trying to do, where does it want to go. Once you understand these things, you will change your behavior, because you will then realize that you are the one that controls everything. And, I call it from slavery to partnership. Actually, I have a website that I named that way. I didn't use that yet. And what it means is, if you go back to biblical references, right? It says, I am the God who took you out of Egypt, out of slavery. It says that many, many times in the Torah. But what it doesn't tell you, actually it does tell you, is you are going into a new slavery. You're going to be my slave. Actually, God called it, he calls it actually a slave, not a servant. Eved in Hebrew is a slave, is not a servant. Okay, and God says many, many, many times in the Bible, in the Torah, He says, now you are, Moses is my slave, Aaron is my slave, David is my slave. So really what happened to us, we went out of this slavery in Egypt, but we became slaves to God. And that's okay. I mean, this is our reality. But the next reality is from slavery to partnership, meaning that you, by understanding everything, you will widen that pipeline that connects you to that consciousness, and it will become more of a partnership. Now, keep in mind, you can never become that God, because if that happens, you lose your identity. So it's a catch-22. If you ever become that God, whichever way that happens, since you are part of it anyway, right? Then you have no identity. You cannot have both. All right? You can become the God, the biblical God. And some people, like if you look at Moses or maybe Jesus, they were more than a normal human because they managed to widen that pipe, connecting them to the consciousness, maybe not to the size of the biblical God, but they widened it enough to come across for other humans to look at them as if they were God or some kind of a extension of God and so on and so on. That's why Jesus kind of became God in Christianity, because people didn't know any better. All right, let me go back. Well, say go back, it means to my page here. Okay. I will leave the gods now, and we'll come back to our box here. Because at the end of the day, until you really, really start to live with that understanding, you still need to breathe and eat and have all your other necessities. And you realize that but the breathing, the only purpose of the breathing, because we could have been anything. We didn't have to be the mechanism we are right now, where we take carbons or whatever we take, and convert it into energy and so on and so on. This is just one model of how it can be. But the reason we need to breathe is to keep us in that box. Because if we didn't need to breathe and we had like big pauses of time not dealing with the physical reality, this thing wouldn't work. We would either start to get out of it, or we would come up with maybe too much understanding, or it just wouldn't work. The breathing is part of the balancing forces to keep this whole thing going. So I said we go back to our physical reality right now, and I want to touch on a few topics before I go into your questions here. Hi Lillian, first time listening live. Okay, that means that you listened before, not live. Tarots, I'll maybe touch on that a little bit. Anyway, you realize, for the ones of you that know that read reality transurfing and so on, there is these pendulums there. But if you really think about it, almost every human, doesn't include me, of course, every human actually lives in this reality and behaves according to some packages of information he chose, because there is unlimited, especially now with the internet, but it always was that way. There's unlimited packages, I call it, that can influence how you think, what you believe, what you do, and so on and so on and so on. And it's really up to you, and it starts with your personality, because your personality entices you to pick certain packages. But look at it this way. When I say packages, right, there is the package, one package is called Christianity, another package it's called Islam, another package it's called Judaism, another package is called right, another package is called left, right? Then there is another package called whatever, right? And what we do in this life, we pick a package and then it consumes us. We don't see anything else out of it. Like at the time when, and still probably is, when there was this movement against vaccination, okay? And I don't take sides. I'm just kind of looking as an observer. So you had this group of people that believed 100%. It started with this Steve Jobs, not Steve Jobs. Well, my mind that doesn't. The founder of Microsoft, right? My mind is. I'm so much into this. I have a hard time to. The brain can only do one thing at a time. Anyway, there was this theory going on that he wants to insert some kind of an ID here with the vaccine, and up until this day, even some of my close friends, they are like totally convinced that this is a conspiracy by Bill Gates. Thank you, Lori. Lori. Thank you, Ocean Mist. Yeah, it's, you know, it's hard to kind of jump from God to Bill Gates, right? So they are into this, and they read every piece of information that agrees with their theory, and they watch every video from some doctor from Africa, that from a village, you know, that I shouldn't say Africa, it doesn't matter, some doctor from somewhere that nobody ever heard from, and he says that the vaccines are going to kill you or make you grow 2 more legs, and they will believe it. And when I ask those people, like I said, some of my best friends are like that, I said, tell me, you watch today, how many videos like this that confirm your thing? He says, well, maybe 2, 3. Okay, so over the last month, how many did you watch? Oh, maybe 100? All right. How many did you watch that actually say the opposite? That show that this is all not true, kind of a conspiracy? How many of these did you watch? Oh, I don't watch those. Those are bullshit. You know, this is all lies. This is the media. This is, you know, conspiracy. Don't watch that because it brainwashes you. Okay. So when I say you pick a package, this is what I mean. So that person picked that package. And now, connecting it back to my bubbles in one of my videos, right now he lives in that bubble with that package. And if there is nobody there that's going to kick him like really hard or kick her, and get them out of that bubble, they're going to end up their lives, you know, and all their energy and everything they have. And you know, it's not different from an addiction to drugs or alcohol. It's the same bloody thing, right? So you pick up a package, whether it's this, left, right, religious, you know, vaccine, you name it. It's all packages. They're all out there. The internet actually, like I said, brought it so close to us. And then you immerse yourself in that package. And the only way you're going to get out of it really is to come to Talk for Life and talk to me for an hour. But be aware of it. You have to take all the packages and look at all of them. Don't open one and say, oh, this is it. This is my life. I'm going to end up with this package. That's horrible. You know, this is like that joke that I always say, you know, when you die, and hopefully in a very, very, very long time, it will be very hard to prove you ever lived, right? In the last, I think it was last Sunday, somebody brought up, because I was saying, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I was saying that life cannot be created inside the box. It has to come from the consciousness. Anything to do with other consciousness or life or anything has to come from the top, from there. You cannot create it here. And somebody said, oh, well, there's synthetic cells, you know, today. And I actually looked into it. And what I found is the so-called synthetic cells are actually natural cells where they cleaned out all the DNA, RNA, whatever was there, and put synthetic DNA on RNA. But they started still with the live cell. So you may prove me wrong, but I don't think that, well, actually you cannot prove me wrong. There is no such thing as creating life. Okay, it's not possible. It's only possible from another life, because this is coming from the consciousness. All right, I am going to come here to you, because at the end of the day, it's you. That's the most important thing here, nothing else. See if I can read Russian still. Elegantie Larkost. I used to read Russian fluently, but that was many years ago. Because my mother talked to me Russian only, and I used to read Russian magazines when I was like 5 years old. Okay. I'm just looking here. Slap. I've never seen you before. Netherlands. Hey, Roberto. May. Mayor, you don't miss any Sunday. I love that. It's interesting how we connected. I don't know if I probably never told you, but you were my first client on Token Life, believe it or not. And that's why I sent you a funny message, because I know another mayor here. And when you contacted me via, I think it was WhatsApp, and you said, why don't you reply to me? I think I sent you a nasty answer, because the mayor that I know here always bothers me with tons of messages. And later I saw in the email that it said that you actually booked a session. I felt so bad. Dragon Smith, feeling human is a blessing. Of course it's a blessing. That's why God created this, because He wants to feel like human. I sometimes have mystical experiences and they are good, but this world has its charms. Navid. Okay, I'm just trying to see. Thank you for all the nice and really warm words you put in here. I love it. It's, after Sunday I go for the whole week with the energy or with the spiritual vitality that you give me here. What activates the reverse connection to the consciousness from the avatar? That's a very good question, Laurie. Let me try and answer it. So, number one is your personality. Unfortunately, it's something you don't control. That's number one. Because, I said that probably a couple of times before, that there is this huge, totally random lottery in the sky every day. And in that lottery, everybody who is born in this 24 hours receives a personality, which also includes their body, because that's part of the personality. And there is no choice, nobody is asking you, you just get it, and that's your destiny for the rest of your life. The thing is that because you are an intelligent creature and you always have some connection to the consciousness, potentially you can change, you can improve. Well, not improve is not right, because everything is good. There's nothing bad here. It's how it's supposed to be. But you can enlarge that pipeline by using the little that's open there. You have to work on your personality. You have to, like listening to this video, for example, is something that probably would help you, right? Listening to other videos and reading books and try not to focus yourself or picking up that box that's only practical and matter and material. If you have that personality, you have to fight and try to pick up a different box that has more what I call spirituality in it. Like try to see that there is more, try to find your sixth sense, and that's the only way you can do it. Like I said, it only has to come from inside you, and it's a catch-22 because you have to do it using the personality that you are trying to change, and that's very hard. It's like I said earlier, it's like you pull yourself, like you're drowning in the water and you try to pull yourself out by pulling your hair. Well, it's not possible because you have to stand on something, right? So come stand on me. All right. May. So if consciousness is dreaming our reality and the avatars are creating that reality, they are controlling the dream. Well, they are controlling the dream only to a certain degree. Yes, you are correct. But they are not controlling the hardware on the stage, and they are not controlling the things that are against the rules. Other than that, yes, you are 100% right. But the thing is that it's very hard for one avatar to control this, unless they are born with a unique personality. Again, like I go back to some biblical figures, David, Jesus, or Moses, right? They were born with a certain personality. Abraham. Otherwise, you have to be able to collect more people around you to change this reality. That's why people that I mention all the time, like Hitler or Stalin or Roosevelt or whatever, Churchill, they managed to gather around them millions of people that actually were willing to die for them, maybe, and that's how they change this reality. It's very hard for an individual, unless, like I said, they are extremely connected, that they already have that connection. It's very hard for somebody just to come and change reality, right? It's like ants. If you take one ant, there's no way in its lifetime it can build a nest. It needs to have, I don't know how many thousands of ants are there, right? It's just how it works. But yes, the answer to the question is yes, May. Oh, you said, okay, I just answered my question. Okay, I hope your answer is... Retifan, greetings. Okay. Gates, thank you. Bill Gates, yeah. Conspiracy theories, yes. Pozdrav, Lilian. Pozdrav? Huh? It sounds to me like pozdrovje, which in Polish means to your health, but I guess in many Slovak languages it would mean that. Well, Lilian, if you're a medium, you should be able to connect to me right now. Confirmation bias, yes. Okay. So Life Explorist says that Bill Gates appeared in the news in France and denied everything. Well, I don't think there was anything to deny. It was stupid to start with. Don't give you the energy to do this stuff. Okay, maybe I should actually bring those things. Today I fixed it and you can actually see your comments. Sorry. I'll go back and maybe bring some of those back. Perception makes projection. Yeah, projection meaning not like projection to the future, but projection like from a projector. That I would say, yes, that works. Kevin, let's see what's Kevin saying. Isn't choosing packages or making your own unavoidable, as you have to have beliefs to operate in life? But the point to choose those reflect reality truths. Okay, what I meant, Kevin, is that you have to open many of them, not to pick up only the pink ones or only the blue ones or only the yellow ones, right? You have to try and balance amongst many packages like that, because then you will get a perspective and you will not get caught in some pendulum that takes you in there and that's it. You cannot get out. As long as you just open one, open another, your mind stays balanced. It does not become prisoner to one, whatever that might be. Conspiracy theory or some god or whatever, right? Or religion. Life Explorist, but you didn't do it asleep. Okay, you didn't do it at slap div. I don't know what that means. Life Explorist, maybe you can rephrase it again. Oh, wait a minute. That was a person. Sorry. My name is Abolzal. I am Persian but live in Netherlands. Okay. So you refer to a person. I'm sorry. When you put that @ sign, I thought you were talking about something that I'm supposed to know. Okay, Chris MM. Just took some magic mushrooms. What a perfect time to watch Shlomo. Well, I thought that I replaced those magic mushrooms, so this is kind of disappointment that you still need it when you watch me. Okay. Shlomo, what I did was a miracle. Something happened to me. They brought me to mental hospital and gave me pills. They brought me back to this nightmare. I was a freed man. You know, a good friend of mine says that the only place where he finds real people is in a mental hospital, because they are totally real. They don't pretend anything. You see? Everybody else pretends something, and I know some of you that talk to me, I like to talk about that, how we project somebody else, and because we think that this is what is expected of us, right? If we go into a museum, then we become serious, and we look at everything like this, and because we think we cannot go watch the stuff in the museum and laugh and make jokes. It just doesn't fit the environment. But it may be totally against our personality, so we go and we project somebody else. And in the mental institution, nobody projects anybody. They just are what they are. And, before I continue here, the last one I looked at was this one, okay. It was Slab Div. Slab Div. I like the car in your picture there. So, you know what? It slipped my mind. Okay. I'll come back. Hopefully I'll remember what I wanted to say. It's very hard to keep all these balls in there. It's like, I have like 20 little balls and I'm juggling. And sometimes one of them falls down, but I have to keep juggling. I cannot, bend and pick it up, because then all the other ones will fall. So this is what happens here when you are on a live video like that. Okay, have you ever read about Sufism and Rumi in particular? I have a feeling you may find it interesting and worth reading. I did actually read, again, I don't go into any of these packages too deep, just like I advised you not to do, but I would say I read almost everything that's out there, but not going too deep. So Rumi, I love. I think that is very practical, and I even put many of his quotes and kind of pictures on my Facebook page. There is one where he shows that instead of looking for a road, he has a rolled road like in like a carpet, and he unwinds it and he walks on his own road. Like create your own road in life. It was something by Rumi, and I really loved it. But I can only read that much. I have to come up with my own ideas, so I don't spend too much time reading. They gave me, destroyed everything I worked on 2 years hard for. Nice to see you live. Yes, exactly. I found someone with the powers in that mental hospital. Okay. So, let's see if I can remember what I was going to say here. I think it was when I was reading, where was it? Yeah, I think it was here. Anyway, can't remember. Okay. Chris MM. You have opened my mind a lot over the last few months, especially after your email response to my photo earlier this year, but I'm curious if you have ever tried psychedelics. This is my first time. To be honest with you, I not only didn't try psychedelics, I never smoked, not even one cigarette, and even more crazy, I never got drunk. And it's not because I'm some kind of something special, it's just because I'm a chicken. I am terrified, I think I always was, since I was a child, to lose control. That's why I was also never hypnotized. I won't let anybody hypnotize me. I just have this fear of losing control, and it got engraved in me. And today I don't take, I think, psychedelics for a different reason. Oh, perfect. You just reminded me what I wanted to say. See, that's great. So what I wanted to say, and I'll come back to why I don't take them, is that anything we do, whether it's meditation, prayer, psychedelics, mostly drugs, is to squelch or silence or block this reality that we sense through our five senses. That's all we are doing. Because as soon as you squelch that reality, your pipeline to the other reality, and that also answers the question somebody else asked here about how do you improve that connection, is that the best way to improve that connection is to try and shut down this reality, but not in a destructive way. I mean, you can shoot yourself in the head. Most likely you will wake up in a different reality, but this is not constructive, right? So anything that shuts or diminishes this reality will actually take you or enhance your connection to the consciousness. And a good example is NDE, near-death experience. What happens in near-death experience? Think about it. The main thing that happens is that you get disconnected from this reality, right? Because you are considered dead by scientific means. So it means that you don't have your five senses, right? Because they check your physical. The only thing that a doctor can check is your physical being. He cannot check your mental being. So when you get to a point where you are near death, that experience is really not having this reality. And that's why that pipeline opens up and all of a sudden you perceive a different reality, right? You perceive a reality, you actually see this world from a different place without your eyes. And this is also why people, and we talked about it, I think, again, maybe a couple of weeks ago, we are into the 13th episode, so I can't remember which one was what. By the way, I'm going to re-listen to all my videos this week and re-catalog them and put the proper descriptions, and also put a different thumbnail, like the one I put on this one, which a viewer here made for me, Steven from Jakarta. He actually came up with that suggestion. I liked it, so I used that thumbnail, and it'd be interesting to hear your input on that because it has a description in it. And I'm going to rewatch the videos and put the proper description looking from today. So it will be more up to date. But going back to this near-death experience, you see many people describe a situation where they can see things with the eye closed or not looking. And that's a known phenomenon. And why does it happen? How can you see something with your eyes closed? The only way that can happen, right, is because you see it some other way. And like I said, you are a closed box. Everything is generated inside you. There's absolutely nothing outside. Even though you think it comes from outside, at the end of the day, it all arrives inside this closed space. So when the near-death experience happens, you actually experience almost being out of this box, right? And looking into it from outside. Again, this is all metaphorical. It's all in one place. Basically what I'm saying here is that everything we do, and I got into it through the psychedelics, is to try and shut down this reality as much as possible in a non-destructive way. Because the more destructive it is, like hard drugs, then you achieve the goal, but it doesn't work because you also ruin the tools, the physical tools you have, and eventually you die because you just ruin yourself completely and lose. You cannot lose touch with reality continuously. You have to come back if you want to survive here, because you need to breathe, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to earn money, and that's why addictions are so dangerous, right? It's okay to get out of reality for a short time. You have a meditation for half an hour, but you cannot get out of it forever because then basically it's like you're dead. Now, the reason I don't take psychedelics these days, even though I'm very curious about all this ayahuasca and mushrooms, many, I would say most of my friends do that, is because today I'm not afraid to lose control so much as I'm afraid to lose my perspective on things, because I think my perspective is real and it's true. And I'm afraid that it will actually take me off track, and I don't want to go off track. The track I'm on, I think is real, I think is genuine, and I think it's actually leading all of us towards a much, much better reality. So I'm afraid, to trip on something, because then I will have no way back. Again, because I'm playing with the same consciousness, with the same Shlomo that is doing what he's doing right now. So that's my answer. That's what scares me right now. I'm not really afraid of losing control. That part I passed already, because I realized, and I'll tell you something very interesting, and I think that Sadhguru, and the ones that listen to Sadhguru is a very interesting man, probably the most interesting man on the internet there, on YouTube, except me, of course. He talks about fear. And what he says, and he actually shows it, he has, I think, a cobra in his hand. He says that if you are not afraid, no animal will hurt you, will harm you. It doesn't matter what it is. If you hold the cobra, it won't hurt you. But the second you get scared, it will bite you. It will kill you. And it goes for many things. From my experience, I don't want to repeat myself, but I'm sure that most of you didn't hear that story. About 2 years ago, I was going up the mountain, and here in Vancouver, and it was already kind of after sunset. This is where those big animals come out, I guess. And as I was walking up, by myself, there was no other people on the mountain, I all of a sudden ran into a cougar. He was sitting on a rock right in front of me, like 10 feet, just looking at me. And I stopped, but somehow I didn't get scared. And why didn't I get scared? Because what happened to me was like a near-death experience. I saw the episode from outside all of a sudden. I felt like it's not me. I felt like I'm standing on the side and I'm watching Shlomo and the cougar, and it didn't affect me at that moment, mentally at all. So I looked at that cougar, and he looked at me, or she, whatever it was, it looked at me, and 10 feet, this is very close, like it's one leap. It would grab me, and it was huge. It was really big. I never thought the cougar is that big. And now realize there's only two choices here. Either he walks away or I walk away. There is no other solution, right? Somebody has to turn around and go. Because if I continue, I'm going to step on the cougar, and if he continues, he's going to step on me. So, I looked at it in the eyes. Just I think it's the contrary to what is advised, but I looked at it in the eyes, and I went, like I screamed like crazy, and I waved my hands, and he turned around and walked away. And what I'm saying is I didn't get scared. I got scared later when I thought, oh shit, I was actually facing a cougar. But at that moment, I just didn't feel I'm there. And I think that what fear causes us is everything bad, including illnesses. Like I talked about that. If you get some diagnosis or some X-ray or something that shows that potentially you have something and you get scared, most of the time it will manifest. But if you don't get scared, and don't ask me how to do it, that's for a different video. But if you don't get scared, it usually will be nothing. So the fear is almost like it cracks some kind of a shield that we have against, whether it's a wild animal or an illness or another person. Even with people, if somebody comes, and attacks you with a baseball bat and runs at you and everything, if you don't get scared, and it's very hard to do, right? And you just look at the person in the eyes and have absolutely no fear in your face, they will stop. They will not hit you. Something will happen. So that's an interesting phenomenon. And all right. Anis missed my content. Well, it's all going to stay on the internet, on YouTube, so you can always watch it again. Have you read Journeys Out of the Body by Robert Monroe? No, I did not. Two questions by Jennifer. Okay, let me bring it up here. If you are in God's dream, is God dreaming as God or is he avatar? Next, how does the subconscious mind play into the dream? Okay, I'll put it up there again because this is many questions in one. If we are in God's dream, that's the consciousness dream. Is God dreaming as God or is he or as the avatar? You know what, I have to think about that one. This is a hard question. I have to kind of think about it with my emotions, not just think about it with my mind. How does the subconscious mind play into the dream? Well, the subconscious mind, this is like you're trying to connect physical entities into non-physical entities. You know what? I'll come back to this one. I'll post an answer on the comments because this is going to take... That's crazy. That's exactly what I was going to say. Captain Blimp. Joe Dispenza goes into detail on the correlation between fear and other emotions with physical illness. Okay. I didn't know that. I like Joe. I watched a couple of videos, but fear is giving away our power to the other. Yeah, when it comes on humans, yes, I agree. Shlomo, you're like those brave cats that chase away bear. Well, my little dog chased away a bear here. I have a Japanese chin, which is all 14 pounds or 6.5 kilos, and he chased away a huge bear here. It's all a power of the mind, I guess. Do you think we have free will? Well, you decide. I think Henry Ford said, if you think so, or if you don't think so, both of them are true. So you are the one that decides that. Okay, here is a commitment I made, and I probably will fulfill it. Talk about having fear, bad health diagnosis. Okay. Teurke, looks like Turkey, but I guess it's Turke. Have you read My Big Toe by Tom Campbell? I think I did look at that one. Somebody sent it to me, yes. How do we proceed with everyday mundane life? Well, that brings us... this camera takes me out of focus once in a while. I'll fix that. I guess what I will do in the next videos, I'll just put it on manual focus because I don't move that much back and forth. So if I put it on manual focus, it will stay in one place. But in a way, it shows that I'm alive, right? When it refocuses on me. Okay. I have a scene here which actually... Oh, I'm zoomed in, so that's why. Let's see if I can zoom out. There we go. This is supposed to be my normal picture. I put this. I have this zoom in like this, and then I have another one that takes it like this. See, so I was in one of those. Okay. Lori, about the mundane life. What you have to realize is that the consciousness created this dream to experience this reality, which is something it cannot experience any other way because it does not exist in matter. And at the end of the day, the mundane life is the ultimate reality that the consciousness wanted and is having. So it may sound like a totally crazy paradox because you, I guess, Lori, you want to be like God. You want to experience this amazing stuff and you want to have these amazing powers and you want to be able to manifest that. I mean, not just you. We all do, right? So, but on the other hand, there is the other side of that thing, and this is the consciousness, and it wants exactly the opposite. It can do all these things, but it's not interesting. It wants to actually experience the small things. It wants to experience when you fall in love. It wants to experience when somebody is mourning somebody. It wants to experience when somebody is extremely sad. This is the mundane life that you are actually walking for the consciousness. And you don't have much of a choice because this is what you are here for. You are not here for anything else. You are here specifically to create physical experiences that the consciousness cannot have in any other way, right? So, like I said, it's a paradox. We all want to be like God, and God wants to be like us, or the consciousness. And this is the balance between God, the consciousness, and us. This is the thing, right? So how you proceed? You just proceed. You make your best that you can, like out of the choices that you received from the consciousness, you pick the ones that make you feel the best and just move in that direction. So if it makes you feel better to explore and try to understand this reality, you do that. If it makes you feel better to travel around the world, you do that, right? If you like to swim every morning, you do that. This is what life is all about. And it's not infinite, at least not in this reality, right? So the more of this you do, the more good for you and good for the consciousness. Zoom in your turtle. How important do you think forgiveness is for manifestation? What if you cannot forgive? Okay, this is a very loaded question, Natalie, even though you probably don't realize it. Forgiveness is actually a bad thing. And that may sound crazy, right? And I'll tell you why. Let's say somebody did something horrible to you. No, not horrible. Somebody did something to you which you really didn't like, and you got hurt, and you carry this emotion of hurt for the last 5 years, and then one day you decide, you know what, I want to forgive. But the minute you use the word forgive, you basically reinstate or reinforce the hurt. Because if you need to forgive, it means that somebody did something really bad to you. And there is no way you can forgive. Because as soon as you use the word forgive, you're just saying, hey, they did something bad to me, and now I'm trying to forgive. You cannot forgive. The only way you can deal with it is to erase it. You cannot forgive. Forgiving is like if I go to somebody, say, I forgive you. Well, that's nonsense, because I cannot forgive you. If I still carry it and I feel that I need to forgive you, then it's not a good thing. The only way I can actually get rid of it is to erase it and not to deal with it anymore and act that way. So if I meet that person, without being artificial, I actually act as if it never happened. It's gone. That's it. You can only forgive by action. You cannot forgive by words. Right? So, I have a friend here, and he doesn't speak to his dad for the last, 30 years because he slapped him one day. And that's it. He won't forgive. Like, he won't forgive. He got married, and he won't invite his dad. Like, he's totally disconnected. And if he went to his dad and say, I forgive you, I don't think that would be the solution here. But if he started to act as if, okay, I'm matured, this is over, and just act, that way he would feel that really it's gone, and his dad would feel that it's gone. But using the word forgive, it just complicates things. Anyway, that's my opinion. I don't see the point in doing this forgiveness nonsense, because that's we do this in Judaism. Like we have this Yom Kippur, the day of atonement, and we are supposed to forgive everybody because God cannot forgive. That's how the Judaism says that God cannot forgive to somebody that did something bad to you. You have to forgive that person. And then we have this whole game that everybody is sending, mass emailing to everybody, if I did anything to you wrong, forgive me. That's a bunch of nonsense, if just act as if it didn't happen and next, move on. Let's see, how do I manifest that I am more confident now? Well, you just have to act and do things that make you more confident. One of the things that I always suggest to people is to write down all the good things about yourself on one page and read it to yourself aloud every day. that will make you way more confident, because your subconscious is the one that makes you unconfident. You want to be confident. You don't do it to yourself, right? But your subconscious, whenever you run into a situation, it says, oh, we are weak, we are this, we are that, this person is smarter, this person is stronger, they have more money. But if you read to yourself aloud, I'm talking to Fiona right now, right? If you read to yourself aloud the good things about yourself, and your subconscious will hear it from outside, not inside your thinking, that will do it for you. You are welcome, Natalie. You decide the experience is no longer important to you in your current experience. Yes. You are very welcome, Fiona. All right, so today we ran actually longer than normal. It's an hour and a quarter here. And I will put my energy and mind this week into this video that I promised to do. I will go much more into detail, because I think that, this is my mission, to actually bring you to believing that there is this consciousness, and also understanding what it wants of you. And this way, at some point we will change reality together. So, again, enjoy your week. All the best to you. I really, really appreciate you coming here, and I bless you all. And you should feel it, actually. By the way, I over the years, I noticed that people who are connected, that have a wider connection to that consciousness, when they hear something that's true about the universe, about God, they actually know that it's true. It's somehow inside, it tells them that. And I'm sure that many of you will actually feel that today after this video. All right. So all the best to you. Here I'm going to press that button again that says finish. And we'll see you again next Sunday. All the best.